Hello viewers, how are you all? Our today's topic of mental health promotion is how to say no. We sometimes take pleasure in saying he is or she is someone whom I can never say no to. And our inability to say no sometimes lands us in trouble, which often goes out of control. The ability to firmly assert ourselves is in fact part of an effective communication and interpersonal relationship. Yet we often fail to speak out what we feel for the sake of maintaining our relationship. But this step at times worsens our relationship in turn. In our effort to satisfy others, we often say yes instead of no. And what happens in the long run, it lands us on a heap of regrets, remorse, and frustration. It also happens that suppressing our wish, we try to satisfy others. Despite our unwillingness, we sometimes give too much importance to others' insistence, and consequently, we become victims of self-deception. If our to-do list is if it contains more than what we can manage, we become overworked and stressed. What happens in the end? We fail to keep our promise, and we become angry or irritated with the person whom we had given the promise, but that person is in no way responsible for your failure, for your frustration. The reasons that lead to such a situation are quite a few. One is the lack of self-confidence. It is the inability to assert oneself that is reflected in the lack of self-confidence. The person gets dominated by others' wishes, which becomes counterproductive in consequence. Secondly, it also happens when a person attempts to maintain his self-image. When we need to say no, we sometimes say yes, because we are oversensitive about our image in public. And out of the fear that I may lose my image, we respond positively to others' requests when we should have responded in a negative way. Thirdly, there is a popular idea that if I say no, it will hamper my relationship with that person. So out of that fear, we say yes while we should have said no. We fear that that person may mind it and it may affect my relationship with that person. So out of that fear, we say yes while we should have said no. We fear that a no may destroy our relationship. So we go beyond our means and say yes. There are people who cannot afford to displease others. They are always out to please everyone, but hardly do they know that it is not always possible to please everyone. There is also a popular belief that saying no is a reflection of misbehavior. Some relationships are so sacrosanct that they can never be replied with no. So, yes, always yes for them. A lot of misconceptions influence our decisions when we say yes instead of saying no. Mostly, we think that Saying no is an expression of misbehavior, but we should believe that we always have the right and reason to say no straightforwardly and with all honesty and sincerity. It does not affect relationship. Rather, it makes our relationships healthy. If we keep this in mind, it can help us in being self-assertive in our approach to others. But while saying no, we should keep in mind that we shouldn't be aggressive in our reply. If you are aggressive or rude in saying no, that will be a reflection of your misbehavior. But if you say politely, coolly, and in a friendly way, the other person will never mind, will never think that you are misbehaving with him or her. We should keep this in mind. Saying no may sometimes have two opposite impacts on the two persons. While you may feel that you have just refused a request, the other person may feel that you have rejected him or her. So we have to be cautious about that. What are the impacts of saying no? When you are saying no to a person, it will leave a bad taste in your mouth. You may feel bad, but at the same time, you can feel pleased over the thought that you have been straightforward and honest in your approach, and that helps to raise your self-esteem and self-confidence. Secondly, being able to say no increases the level of our acceptance, because when you say no to another person, at the same time you prepare yourself for the situation when others will say no to your requests. Now, you will be able to appreciate others' compulsions at ease. So, in this way, it increases your acceptance level. Ability to say no at the right place and right time boosts our confidence, our self-esteem, our faith in ourselves, and frees us from unwelcome anxieties and worries. And in the long run, it helps others to understand us clearly and brightly. Now let's explore 5 ways of how to say no. First, it is necessary to realize that we cannot hurt others by our way of refusing his or her request, because we should keep in mind that others also may react in the same way with us when we will request them. So it's not a one-way traffic. Others too have their turn to react in the same way with you. So it is nice to not to be rude with others. When you say no, be polite and friendly. Secondly, let's think of a situation. Suppose a friend of yours is bent on sharing his or her romantic escapades with you over phone at night, but you have no time to listen to his or her story because you have a serious assignment the next day and you have to prepare yourself for that, and you have to go to sleep early that night. But your friend is bent on telling his or her story. You have to say no. You tell him or her in a friendly way that since you have no time that night to listen to that episode and you have to leave early tomorrow, you will listen to that episode when your work is over. The person who is trying to share his or her story with you, we hope will listen to your request and shut up immediately. If he or she doesn't do that, you can rest assured that he or she doesn't care for you. Thirdly, you need not be apologetic in your reply, because it is in your right and choice what you decide to do or not to do. Suppose a friend of yours invites you to his or her birthday party, but you have your exam the next day, but your friend insists on joining the party because without you it would be a damp squeal. You make it clear to your friend that you would miss the occasion too, but you cannot oblige him or her because of your exam. Now, this straightforwardness will clear the situation and your friend will never mind your absence. It's always nice to give a reason. Express your regret in a straightforward way, and that saves the situation. But if you say yes and you refrain from joining the party, your relationship will definitely be at stake. So if you want to avoid this kind of situations, you have to be straightforward in your approach and say no in a friendly way with good reason. Or fourthly, in case of requests from casual acquaintances or unknown persons, just say, sorry, I cannot. You needn't elaborate, because everyone you meet doesn't deserve explanation. Lastly, in some cases, when you are in a confused state of mind, you can take some time to decide it, and when you take the decision, you convey to the person yes or no. Before winding up, I'll tell you an experience from my own life. One of my friends had been asked by his teacher to hand over a book to some person. My friend knew that it was difficult for him, but for fear of offending his teacher, he said yes. His teacher needed the book to be handed over the next day. But my friend couldn't do it. He handed over the book after a week. And after that, he was avoiding his teacher. When he met the teacher after about a month, his teacher told my friend, take only that much on your plate which you can eat. It's not good to take more than what you can eat. And his teacher lost his confidence on that student. And my friend repents the incident even today. There really are some people who always say yes to every request made to them. They are in the yes mode always. This is a self-sacrificing mode, and the more they do that, they exhaust themselves. In the long run, people begin to take them for granted. Surely you won't expect this to happen in your case.